confused by what had occurred. There was only one who could comfort him to help him see the light.
Al-Ithar is a very important quality that we have to teach our children, and the mother is the best one to bring this understanding to her children. Al-Ithar, sitting on the dining table, and he wants this while his brother or his sister wants that. Instructing them to Al-Ithar and the quality of Al-Ithar and the great reward that you will get by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala via explaining the ayat of Surah Al-Hashr, inshaAllah. Pardoning or Al-Af, especially in the beginning I said, peace does not mean weakness. Peace stems from strength and justice. That's why when the Prophet ﷺ one day said to his companions, يَدْخُلُ عَلَيْكُمُ الْآنَ رَجُلٌ مِّنْ أَهْلِ الْجَنَّةِ. We have to share these stories with our children. A man who will be from Ahlul Jannah will walk upon you right now, will enter from this door. Everybody was looking anxiously, waiting for him. It was Abdullah ibn Salah. Next day, the same person, the same statement the Prophet ﷺ said, and the same person walked in. And the third day, so Abdullah ibn Amr ibn al-As, he was a teenager, decided to figure out why this man is from Ahlul Jannah. He made up a story and he went and he stayed with him for 3 days. He did not observe any extraordinary ibadah. So he confronted him with the fact that the Prophet ﷺ said that you will be from Ahlul Jannah. Why? What do you do? He said, as you've seen, my nephew, I do not do anything special. But wait a minute. When I go to sleep, I forgive everyone. That what brings peace and tranquility to the heart. When I go to sleep, I do not worry about revenge. I do not envy any Muslim. I love everybody. I wish well for every Muslim. You know what Abdullah ibn Amr ibn al-As said? Well, that is the one which we cannot afford. هذه التي لا نستطيع. It's hard, but it's easier when you learn it at a young age. As the mother is reciting the ruqyah and the mu'awwidhat upon her children before going to sleep, she should also quote upon them a bit story, something like the story of Abdullah ibn Salam, the story of the people of the cave, and the Quran is full of stories. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed the Quran to be a ibrah and admonition. I do believe that I ran out of time, but we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept this humble effort from all of us, to teach us what we don't know, and to help us to act upon what we have learned. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم وصلى الله على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. I shouldn't forget to make the same dua of عباد الرحمن. ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين واجعلنا للمتقين إماما. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. جزاكم الله خيرا.
Inshallah, we'll now have time for the question and answers. For the brothers, we have one mic at the front on the left-hand side. So if you would like to ask a question, you may come over to this mic at the front. And we have one mic in the back for the sisters. Now, try as much as you can to make sure that your question is on the topic. And of course, one question at a time. So inshallah, if we may have, do we have any brothers to the mic? If not, we'll go to the sisters.
My question is a question that is asked by both Muslim women as well as non-Muslim women. In today's life, can women have it all? Career, as well as being a good mother that's capable of producing an ashabi.
Okay, I got your question. Thank you so much. Jazakumullahu khairan. One day on NPR, National Public Radio, that was in Texas, I heard a very interesting interview with a working mother. The hosts were asking her how much you make per hour. She said that much. And she said, do you have children? She said, yes. Where do you leave them? With a babysitter. How much you pay? That much. So when I quickly, before they talk about it, she ended up, she's just working in order to pay the babysitter. Can there be any babysitter on earth or any person replace the love and the passion, the care, and the warmth that the mother gave to her children? No. As a matter of fact, we already know from the reports and the news, disasters happen due to trusting the maid or the babysitter with your children and leaving them alone with them at home. The thing that you desire to enter Al-Jannah through, and now I'm only speaking about Muslim women, because when I speak about the motive, I cannot speak to non-Muslims about this motive, entering heaven through your children. I do have many priests who are my colleagues and friends in the States. One of them, every time I ask him about his children, and he's a very famous priest, I said, Ben, how are you? What's up? How's your children? He had one daughter. He keeps saying, well, Muhammad, she's good until she's 14. She's good until she's 14. Imagine a religious person is expecting the worst to come. We invest in our children. We give our entire life so that they will be a continuation for our life. Why many Muslim women think that it's a shame to stay at home? It is perfectly important to acquire a degree and to be professional, but if your children need you, then they should be given the precedence. If you can combine between both, that's perfectly fine, especially if the family is in need for the financial support of the mother. There are many single mothers who have to go and work. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help them. But what if the father is well off, is making good income, and the family is not in need for further income? Why would the mother go out and she had 2, 3, or 4 children, or even one, and neglect her child in order to prove herself that I have a profession, I have a career, and I have colleagues, and I have duties to do? Because indeed, you know, in the States they call the housewife, they call her what? A house engineer. She's the best one to look after the house and the household. So somebody has to do it. And the best one to do it is the wife. That, if there is no need, if there is no financial need to support the family. But if there is, then there is a different story. Barakallahu fiqh.
What does she do with the career that she's spent so much time studying through it?
Okay, that's a good question. By the way, I'm a pharmacologist by profession. I was an assistant professor of pharmacology. My career initially was teaching pharmacology and pharmacognosy, blah, blah, blah. Okay? So when I shifted and I studied Sharia afterward, and I left my job at the university and all of that, at one point I regretted that I wasted so many years in studying biochemistry and pharmacology. But by Allah, later on, I realized that it was best for me. It is very important for the religious scholars to be also aware of the science and math and many other sciences, to be aware of what's going on. So a mother who's educated, a mother who is a physician, can utilize this knowledge that she earned and the degree in upbringing her children the right way. Of course, it makes all the difference. An educated mother or a mother who does not have a degree. And meanwhile, he did not only get the degree in order to work so that he can make some money. Because if you're talking about the benefit-risk ratio as in pharmacology, or al-masalih wal-mafasid as in usul al-fiqh, the maslaha should be given precedence to the mafsada. And if we have 2 maslahas, 2 benefits, we give precedence to the greater one. So which one is greater? Upbringing children, righteous children, or going to work? Okay? Once again, we're not saying that it is unlawful for a woman to work. We're saying it is permissible if she works in the proper field, with the proper etiquette, and whenever it is needed. Barakallah fiqh.
Thank you so much.
You're
Jazakallah.
Wa jazakallah.
We'll have the next question from the brother's mic.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
My question refers to when you said that parents sometimes tell their children to lie to the guests about them being home.
Yeah,
How can we avoid this situation? Because if we disobey our parents, we get sins. And if we lie to our guests, we still get sins.
Well, that means they do that. And very often, it seems. This is a very good question. You see, I hope this is appealing to the parents who sometimes forget that as much as they are watching their children, they are being watched by their children. You know at what age the kids imitate the parents in praying? It could be before 2 years. See you praying the Janamaz, right away they bring a prayer rug, and sometimes they pray opposite to the Qibla or whatever, and they make some funny movements, but they're imitating you. The best way of raising your children is by setting a role model. Do not talk a lot, rather act. So I hope the brother, our young brother right now, is giving a nasiha to the parents. And the answer to your question is, if whomsoever orders whomsoever to do something that is haram, they should not obey him. Even if it is a father or a mother or a teacher, because the Prophet ﷺ said, لا طاعة لمخلوق في معصية الخالق. No one should be obeyed on account of disobeying the Creator, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Barakallahu feek.